We're going to factor the greatest common factor for number 1. This is your assignment. Solving for polynomial functions by factoring. So we have 2x squared, so you're left with 2. You're left with x squared plus 8x plus 16. So we have 2x squared times, we have x plus 4, and x plus 4 equals 0. Since the factors of 16 are 4 and 4, and they add up to be 8, so now you set each factor equal to 0. So the only thing that x can be in this case is 0, and it's repeated. Subtract 4, subtract 4, so you have x equals -4. Subtract 4, subtract 4, so x equals -4. So what are your answers? We have 0, 0, -4, -4, and these two, the zeros are multiplicity of 2, and the -4 are multiplicity of 2. You notice there are 4 terms. What you probably want to do is factor by grouping. So we have parentheses 2x cubed minus 5x squared, parentheses minus, actually plus minus 4x plus 10 equals 0. Look at the first parenthesis and see what you can factor. In this case, we can factor x squared. So we're left with 2x minus 5 plus, what can you factor from -4x and 10? It's -2. So you're left with x, actually 2x minus 5. And if you want to check that, all you would have to do is the distributive property. -2 times 2x gives you -4x. -2 times -5 gives you 10. Now you notice you have 2x minus 5 in common. So you factor 2x minus 5. So you factor the 2x minus 5, so you're left with x squared minus 2 equals 0. So set each factor equal to 0, so you have 2x minus 5 equals 0. X squared minus 2 equals 0. Add 2 to both. You add 2 to both sides, so you have x squared equals 2. Square root both sides, so you have x equals plus or minus square root of 2. The other factor, you add 5 to both sides. So you have 2x equals 5 and then divided by 2. So x equals 5 over 2. So your roots are 5 over 2 plus or minus square root of 2. So I'm going to go ahead and factor by grouping. So I have -2x cubed plus 12x squared. That's my first group. Plus 32x minus 192. That's my second group. So I'm going to factor -2x squared. So I have x, it's x, right? Plus minus 6. And here we're going to also factor a 32. So we have x minus, and I think 192 minus 30 divided by 32 gives you 6. And I'm not mistaken. It is 6. So I have -2x squared plus 32 equals 0. And then I'm going to factor x minus 6 equals 0. So I have -2x squared plus 32 equals 0. Subtract 32 from both sides. So I have -2x squared equals negative 32 divided by negative 2. So x squared equals 16. Square root. So x is equal to plus or minus 4. And then I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So x equals 6. So what are my answers? 4, negative 4, and 6. And each of them have a multiplicity of 1. So we're going to factor the greatest common factor. In this case, it's 4. 4x. So we're left with x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. So I have 4x equals 0, and I have x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to factor this, so it's x minus 3, x plus 1 equals 0. So I have x equals 3, since I add 3 to both sides, and I subtract 1, so it's x equals negative 1. Here I divide by 4, so x equals 0. Number 5, we're going to factor x squared. So it's 3x plus 11, x minus 4 equals 0. So I have x squared equals 0, 3x squared plus 11x minus 4 equals 0. Go ahead and multiply these two. So you're going to find the factors of negative 12, which is 12, and negative 1, which gives you 11. So it's 3x squared so I have 3x parentheses plus 12, 3x minus 1 equals 0. As you notice, you can factor a 3 from that factor. So you actually have 3 parentheses 3x plus 4 times 3x minus 1 equals 0. And if I divide both sides by 3, that cancels. So here we have x equals 0. So that's repeated. That's a multiplicity of 2. This is x plus 4 equals 0. So x equals negative 4. That's a multiplicity of 1. 3x minus 1 equals 0. 3x equals 1, since you add 1 to both sides, and then divide by 3. So x equals 1/3.